huge MMA fights have been announced. Tai Tuivasa, Sergei Pavlovich in the co-main events. If you want to see my reasoning why it's stupid that it should be a co-main event, we're about to post another video just like it in a little bit of me ranting about why it should be the main event. But I'm going to give my early prediction for this newly announced fight. Tai Tuivasa and Sergei Pavlovich. I am going to go Sergei Pavlovich to win. He's taller, he's lengthier, not as young, but I mean 30 years old, 29. Not much of an age difference right there. I do believe Tai's damage that he took in the Sandhagen fight, especially at the body, the front kicks at the body, the jabs, the 1-2s. I mean, he was wobbling at least 3 to 4 times in that fight with Sandhagen at UFC France. If maybe this fight card happened at UFC 282, maybe it happened at UFC 284 in Perth, Australia, maybe I switch my prediction to Tai Tuivasa, but the chin of Tai Tuivasa is very, very much worrying me now. After the loss to Sandhagen, Sergei on a 4-fight round 1 KO TKO streak. Got good wrestling, good grappling to mix in if he wants to. And I don't think if Tai's going for the leg kick strategy, every time he's going to go in for those leg kicks, Sergei's going to use his height, use his reach to jab and 1-2 on the outside. So either Sergei with a nice 29-28 competitive decision, or he's going to crack him in round number 2 or round number 3. I'm going to go Sergei Pavlovich in the later rounds. Charles Dubronk Oliveira, Alexander Volkanovski betting odds have been released just in case the fight may or may not happen at UFC 280. It's not 100% sure it's gonna, not 100% sure that is not gonna happen. There is a good shot we could definitely see Alexander Volkanovski going out there and fighting Charles Oliveira. Before we get into that, we also have Alexander Volkanovski, Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev is at minus 400. Minus 400 as a huge favorite over Alexander Volkanovski, whereas Charles Oliveira also is going to be the favorite, but only at minus 140. On the betting odds, do you agree or disagree with the betting odds for Charles Oliveira, Islam Makhachev over Alexander Volkanovski? I agree with the Oliveira ones. I disagree with the Makhachev ones. So it should be a little bit closer in my opinion. UFC Fight Night, Thompson, Holland is absolutely stacked. UFC Orlando, 15 fights on the entire card. Probably the longest main card I've seen in a while. The longest main card I've seen in a while. I mean, usually, right? We see 5 fights, sometimes like 6 fights if we're lucky, on a main card of a UFC Fight Night, on a main card of a pay-per-view. But this one's different, man. This one is way, way different. We have Stephen Thompson, Kevin Holland in the main event. Again, should not be the main event. Tuivasa, Sergei Pavlovich should be the main event right there. But we have Thompson, Holland in the main event. We got Tuivasa, Sergei Pavlovich, top 5 UFC heavyweights just sitting on the prelims right there. We got top 15 women flyweights, Amanda Ribas, Tracy Cortez. Top 15 men's flyweights, Matt Schnell and Mateusz Nicolau. Top 10 UFC middleweights, Jack Hermanson, Derek Brunson. Veteran Clay Guida, veteran Scott Holtzman. Former champion Rafael dos Anjos and Brian Barberina, who just beats former champion Robbie Lawler. And that is the damn main card. That is the main card right there. That is insane, guys. That is insane. That main card alone is already looking super stacked. But once you look at the prelims, I know I'm voice cracking a little bit. Once you look at the prelims, we got Eric Anders that's been in UFC Fight Night main events. We got undefeated Francis Marshall making his UFC debut. 2 guys with 1 loss inside the UFC. Very exciting lightweights. Veteran Michael Johnson taking on wrestler Mark Diakin Magomedov. Angela Hill, Emily Decote, top 15 women's strawweights. That's solid, and that's on the prelims as well. Darren Elkins, veteran, taking on newcomer, little bit of a veteran. He's been fighting in the UFC for a while. Jonathan Pierce, undefeated, future top 10, top 5 strawweights. Yasmin Jaregui and Nico Price, a man that only loses to top 15 level guys. Michel Pereira by decision. Vicente Luque twice. Jeff Neal, and then Abdulrazak Al-Hassan. That's the only one, I guess, not. But the man hammer fist Randy Brown from bottom, knocked out Tim Means, and knocked out Alan Jobin. This dude's on the first fight of the night, guys. UFC Orlando, UFC Fight Night, goddamn Thompson, Holland. Holy shnikes, man, this is amazing. This card is amazing. Wow, amazing card. UFC Orlando, probably one of the best UFC Fight Nights of 2022. At least it looks like it on paper. Put your thoughts down below. Alexander Gustafsson and Ovince Preux in the light heavyweight division. Two veterans, two former title challengers. Whether it's from the interim title challenger or they actually fought Jon Jones twice. The first fight being one of the greatest fights in MMA history, but they're both a little bit past their prime. I'm going to be that honest with you. Ovince Preux, Alexander Gustafsson of today are not looking like their previous prime self. Alexander is 35 years old, losing to Fabricio Verdum by armbar round 1. Nikita Krylov by knockout in barely over a minute in round number 1. Got knocked out by Jon Jones, lost to Anthony Smith by submission, and then boom, out of nowhere right before that, very long time ago. I mean, you're looking at these 4 losses in a row, you're like, God dang, that's tough. He's fallen off the deep end. He kind of has, because he started from the top and went all the way downhill, man. The wins before that Jon Jones loss at UFC 232, Glover Teixeira, the former UFC light heavyweight champion, knocked the man out in round number 5, and I think he proposed to his wife or something at the end of the UFC fight night, because I believe it was in Sweden. Yeah, it was in Stockholm, Sweden. Immediately after that one, main event in Sweden, knocked him out round number 5, got a decision win on Jan Blachowicz right there. Look at these losses. Nikita Krylov, all right, that's a little iffy there, but a top 10 light heavyweight in the world. Fabricio Verdum, champion. Anthony Smith, title challenger. Jon Jones, one of the greatest of all time, beat a champion, beat another champion, lost to a champion by a damn split decision. This was the UFC light heavyweight belts on the line, and Gustafsson lost by split decision. If the judges were just a little bit different on that day, the man would have been the UFC light heavyweight champion. Another title challenger right there. Knocked out Jimmy Manuwa. Lost to Jon Jones. Beat champion Mauricio Shogun Rua. He's only been losing and winning against champions and title challengers recently. Aside for Nikita Krylov, of course. But gosh dang, he's fell off the deep end, man. He has fell off the deep end. He was so hot. He was all the way up here, and then boom, knocked out by Jon Jones. His chin starting to fade a little bit. Gets submitted by Smith. His submission defense is decreasing. Gets armbarred by Verdum in round 1. Oh my gosh. And then his chin gets destroyed by Nikita Krylov in his last fight. Knocked out in round number 1. Ooh, I don't know. Alexander Gustafsson not doing too good recently. The same could be said for Ovince Preux, only barely beating what is he, 42 years old right now? 40-year-old Mauricio Shogun Rua by split decision. Arguably, you could legitimately say he possibly could have won that one. Beating Alonzo Menefiel, Michael Leshazier, that's a solid win. These are good wins. Tyson Pedro is a good win. Corey Anderson is a good win, but same thing with Alexander Gustafsson, has been knocked out a lot recently. Got knocked out by Jamal Hill, a standing TKO in round number 2. Then got knocked out again by Tanner Boser right there. They're both getting knocked out. They're both getting finished a lot recently. And when we get two veterans like this that get knocked out a lot and that are getting a lot slower, their power is decreasing, their finishing ability is decreasing, usually we're going to see a decision, right? Usually. That's what I'm expecting here. Ovince Preux, what do you get? A knockout win on Alonzo Menefiel? All right. That was 2 years ago. Got a decision win on Mauricio Shogun, who got a decision loss on Ben Rothwell. I have a feeling this one's going to go all the way. It's a veteran versus veteran on the main card of a pay-per-view. They're going to go for the finish, because most likely the loser, probably going to retire from MMA. Maybe the winner will as well. But I think it's going to be one of those veteran fights that's an all-out classic. They're going to be going back and forth, laying in some good shots, but it's all going to be really slow, really sloppy, and things like that. And, early prediction, I'll lean Alexander Gustafsson. Yeah, barely. Ever so slightly. Not a confident pick. Not a confident pick. You don't know what Gustafsson's going to look like after getting knocked out twice in the same fight by Nikita Krylov. You don't know. You don't know what he's going to look like. But I think it's going to be a close one. I think he's going to be going out there trying to win this fight and then just retire. Ovince probably lose this fight and then just retire. But both guys are probably going to retire after this, but I'll lean Alexander. He's younger. That's about it. That's about it. He's younger. But yeah, I got Gustafsson by a very, very close 29-28 decision. Should be an interesting one. Veteran versus veteran in the light heavyweight division. Both guys only really losing to ranked fighters, title challengers, top 10, top 15 guys in the UFC's light heavyweight or heavyweight division. But who do y'all think wins that fight? Nate Diaz, the Slappinator 2.0, is going out there to possibly fight the man, the myth, the legend, Conor McGregor's foe. Not Conor McGregor, but his foe, in Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match in 2023. Again, possibly. Don't go out there tweeting to your friends, Nate Diaz is fighting Floyd Mayweather. It's not official, ladies and gentlemen. Calm down a little bit, alright? It's not official, but Floyd Mayweather and his management are in talks with Rizin, the Japanese organization with Kyoji Horiguchi, who fought Demetrius Johnson a long time ago in the UFC. They're looking to find a way to get Nate Diaz reeled in for a Floyd Mayweather fight. Have them fight each other, then maybe go over to fight Jake Paul. Because Jake Paul is fighting over there in, I believe, November or December or something. They might be fighting in October if I'm being wrong. We don't need to talk about Jake Paul right now. All we need to talk about is we might actually see a world where Nate Diaz goes out and fights Floyd Mayweather. But we have to wait. It's not going to be set in stone. It all comes down to if Floyd Mayweather can beat Oladeji Daniel Olatunji. Deji, a YouTuber's brother that has a boxing record of, let me see, one win. Okay. One win over a guy with 0 wins, 2 losses. Okay. All right. And then 3 losses right there. So if Floyd Mayweather can get past the GOAT, in Deji Olatunji, however you say the name, who is 1-3 as a fighter, boxer, I guess you can say. If he can get past the GOAT, then we might actually see Floyd Mayweather and Nate Diaz in Japan in a main event. We'll see. We shall see. I think it's funny. Because I don't know how Rizin is trying to say they're trying to get Nate Diaz in a fight when they don't know that Floyd Mayweather is going to get absolutely concussed by Oladeji Daniel Olatunji. People don't understand, guys. People do not understand. Nate Diaz is not going to get this fight with Floyd for the simple reason that Floyd Mayweather is going to retire after this fight with Deji. Deji's going to give him so much brain damage after this fight, he's going to retire. 50-1. Floyd Mayweather will retire 50-1 after Oladeji Daniel Olatunji goes out there, knocks him out round number 4. I'm calling it right now. He's going to win that fight, and Nate Diaz will not be able to fight Floyd Mayweather because Deji is going to knock him out. Mark my words. That's what's going to happen. But if somehow the underdog, the clear, favorable underdog here, I know that's not really good grammar, but the clear underdog in Floyd Mayweather, if he could go out there, somehow pull off the upset and beat Oladeji Daniel Olatunji, well then maybe we'll see Nate Diaz and Floyd Mayweather in 2023 as Rizin, the Japanese organization, is looking at seeing the viable paths to actually making that fight legit and actually happen. But put your thoughts down below. Aleksei Oleinik is retired from MMA. Everyone, silence please. The GOAT has retired from MMA. The man, the myth, the legend that beat Jared Vanderaa with a damn neck crank in round number 1, beat a former champion in Fabricio Werdum with this split decision win, only losing to ranked fighters. I'm not even joking with you. Every guy he's lost to in the last 4 to 5 years has been ranked. Sergei Pavlovich, Chris Dawkins, Derek Lewis, Walt Harris, Alistair Overeem, and Curtis Blaze, all of which, and Ilir Latifi, all of which that have been in the top 15 of the light heavyweight or heavyweight division. Every last one of those fighters has been inside of the top 15. Aleksei Oleinik will be missed. He will be loved. The man, the myth, the legend, with 60 goddamn wins, 17 goddamn losses, and only one draw, 47 submissions, 8 KO TKOs, and only 5 wins, coming by decision, one of which over a former UFC champion. He got knocked out 9 times, only got submitted twice, and got 6 decision losses. 0 amateur MMA fights, has been fighting since 1996. Oh my freaking god. The man was 19 years old. 19 years old in his MMA debut. That is crazy. That is goddamn crazy. That is freaking crazy. I mean, Aleksei Oleinik, you will be missed. One of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Has fought the who's who of the heavyweight division throughout his whole UFC career. We'll see you later. Aleksei Oleinik. Natalia Silva and Tereza Bleda in the flyweight division has been announced for UFC Fight Night. Lewis versus Pavlovich on the prelims. The 21-year-olds, by the time the fight actually happens, 6-0 undefeated prospects, beating UFC fighter Lucy Pudilova dominantly on the regional scene. Got a win on the Contender Series over an undefeated Nael Ramaya. Will be fighting Natalia Silva, who was beaten Jasmine Jazz the Vicious in her UFC debut and only has lost to Marina Rodriguez recently inside of, what was it, Jungle Fight or something like that. But it's a good fight. Tereza Bleda, heck of a taller fighter, way lengthier than Natalia Silva. Much better wrestler, much better grappler. But Natalia's got good, solid takedown defense and a lot better striking. So this should be a very, very 50-50 back and forth, super close fight in this flyweight division. My early prediction, did I say I was going to give an early prediction? I did. I'll give an early prediction. I'm going to go Tereza Bleda barely to win this fight. I do believe, my original prediction when I first heard about it, I was like, yeah, Natalia looked really good against Jasmine Jazz the Vicious. Her takedown defense was looking absolutely amazing. My prediction might change. This is an early prediction. I could change it to Natalia by unanimous decision, outstriking Tereza Bleda on the feet, but I think Tereza will keep the range on the feet, mix in the clinching and the takedowns and the wrestling here and there, and win a very close, controversial 29-28 decision. Cory Sandhagen, top 10 UFC bantamweight fighter in the world, and Marlon Vera, another top 10 UFC bantamweight in the world. They might be in the top 5 as well. The fight could be happening in 2023, maybe February, maybe March, main card of a pay-per-view, or just as a main event of a UFC fight night. But we have betting odds on a potential matchup with Marlon Vera and Cory Sandhagen. And Cory Sandhagen started off as an even 2-1 favorite at -200. Marlon Vera at +165. And almost immediately the odds went down to be more money came on Cory Sandhagen after the odds came out. So people legitimately think there is value on Cory Sandhagen as a 2-1 favorite over Marlon Vera in a 5-round main event of a UFC fight. I would go Cory Sandhagen to win, but I would probably bet. I mean, +175, I'd definitely lay a little bit of money on Marlon Vera. What do y'all think about the betting odds, and will they fight in the bantamweight division? Kevin Holland and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson betting odds have been released for the main events of UFC Orlando, one of the most stacked fights on paper in UFC 2022. And the betting odds for Stephen Thompson, Kevin Holland started off 50-50, and then some money came in on Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, getting him down to minus 150. The money came right back up to having Kevin Holland as a favorite for a little bit, and now Stephen Thompson is a slight favorite, and one bookie has it as a pick'em. So either Stephen Thompson is a very, very slight favorite, or this fight is a pick'em on the betting odds. What do y'all think? Who wins? Stephen Wonderboy Thompson or Kevin Holland? Alright guys, that is it for today's MMA news. We got Tuivasa, Sergei Pavlovich, official for UFC Orlando co-main event. Makes absolutely no sense, and I gave my early prediction. Oliveira, Volkanovski, and Islam Makhachev. Volkanovski betting odds at UFC 280. UFC Orlando, freaking stacked. Alexander Gustafsson, Ovince, and Preux has been announced, and my early prediction. Diaz, Mayweather, possible 2023. Oleinik retiring. Natalia, Silva, Tereza, Bleda prediction. Marlon, Vera, Sandhagen betting odds, and Thompson, Holland betting odds. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Let's go.